Fanboy Friday with Mark Walters and Robert Miguel.
Coyote Country 104.9.
104.9 Coyote Country. Time again for Fanboy Friday. So checking in from Dallas, Texas, professional Q&A moderator and speaker, film critic at BigFanboy.com, and the show director of the Dallas Comic Show, Mark Walters. Happy Friday, man.
Robert, everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. That's my jam, bro. That's my jam.
Well, let me tell you something. You're gonna have a new jam when you come out of Lego Movie 2, because man, there is a song in that movie that I think they purposely tried to transcend the catchiness of Everything is Awesome, and I think they kind of succeeded.
I can't wait. That's awesome to hear, man. That's great, because that song was ridiculously infectious and kind of perfect for what they were going for on the first one. So yeah, obviously we're going to talk about Lego Movie 2, the second part, which comes out in theaters this week. Mark, this is a special occasion. Did you get your package in the mail?
I did. It's right in front of me. I have not opened it. I purposely waited until this moment so that I could open it while I'm talking to you.
Okay, it's not a big deal. Just kind of a little gift here, but I wanted to commemorate right here, this episode that we're doing here, a Fanboy Friday, will be our 50th episode today. So,
all right.
50,
really?
Yeah, our 50th, our landmark here. So go ahead and open that up real quick if you don't mind.
This package looks like it was wrapped by a very angry person. There's lots of tape on it, but it's very kind of haphazard and dangerous looking. But no, I'm gonna go ahead and open it. If any white powder comes out of this thing, I'm gonna be jumping out the window.
Hey, I've still got family and friends trying to get into their Christmas presents. Okay. they got hammers and chisels, and they're working through it, chainsaws and all. But yeah, I know they the mail, you never know. So I always go around with a packing tape a couple of times, make sure it stays in there. Plus I had to squish it in pretty good. So got one of those flat rate envelopes that I wanted to fill up. So
yeah, okay.
All right.
Give me a minute. I'm having to cut through the tape and okay. I think I got it open. Oh wow. Oh my gosh!
All right, so tell me what you're seeing there.
Okay, so it's more than one. It's like two. Okay, so I've got two shirts. Oh wow, this is awesome. Okay, so I've got two shirts, and it says Fanboy Friday. It's very much in the Star Wars font, and it says Fanboy Friday, episode XLIX, which of course means
hopefully 49.
Fanboy Friday, episode 49 with Mark Walters, and it's in the Star Wars font, and man, this looks awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. This is really, really cool. Send me two of them so that if I get one dirty, I can wear another one. Would you like me to do something different with this? You want me
No. That's yours. I think I got the right size. I just wanted to, you know how it is when you have a shirt, hopefully it'll become one of your favorite shirts, and you know how disappointing it is whenever you'll wear out your favorite shirt. It's good to have a backup. Gives it that extra generation. But you're looking at the limited edition Fanboy Friday, episode 49, and here's the deal. Today is our 50th episode, but you might recall there was one week that Crystal Starr stepped into your shoes on National Cosplay Day. This is actually our 49th episode right here, right now, although there's been 50 episodes of Fanboy Friday. Now, we've been doing this show for over a year, but between, holidays and personal days off and vacations and all that stuff, yeah, this is our 49th episode, 50th overall. So thank you so much, sir, for 50 weeks of awesomeness, man. Everything is awesome!
Hey man, it's been a blast, and I really appreciate it. Stuff like that, it's really cool. It shows how much you love doing this, and how much you take pleasure in making it something that's kind of fun. Fun for me as well. I mean, like the fact that you would send me. This is not the first time you sent me a gift like this, and it really is a special, neat little thing. So I appreciate it, and I will wear this proudly. And I'm sure. I got a lot of really nice compliments on the last Fanboy Friday shirt, and I try to wear it as often as I can. But yeah, this is a great upgrade. Thanks, man.
Well, yeah, cool, man. Hey, thank you for what you do. Again, it's one of my best times of the week. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of put it in that crazy old school 70s blue yellow kind of theme. It's not quite like space black. It's more like that, more like your bed sheet Star Wars theme.
I did notice that. Yeah.
I kind of think it kind of gives it more of a vintage kind of vibe. I don't know. That's my opinion. So anyway, let's get back into it. Celebrations aside, let's get into Fanboy Friday, the content. Tell us about Lego Movie 2. That's the big one.
Yeah. So this is definitely going to be the big movie of the week. Probably the big movie of the month, I would imagine. Well, considering how successful the first Lego movie was, which I think in a lot of ways kind of snuck up on a lot of people, because I even remember thinking to myself, because when that first Lego movie came out, I remember seeing trailers for it. And you got to understand, I was really into Legos as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I had all sorts of Legos as a kid. So I was excited when that first movie came out, but I also was kind of thinking, because up until that point, we had seen, Lego like direct to DVD or direct to video, little short films and stuff. And none of them had really been that big or that popular. So I think, like a lot of people, I wasn't expecting Lego Movie to be a huge hit. And of course, it became one of the three giant movies that ended up propelling Chris Pratt into superstar status. That with Guardians of the Galaxy and Jurassic World. And so it sort of took everybody by surprise and was this huge phenomenon. And of course, after that, we've seen the Lego Ninjago movie, the Lego Batman movie, both of which have done very well. So, yeah, Lego Movie 2 is out. It's officially called the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And so this comes out this weekend, and it's a lot of fun. If you like that first movie, chances are you're going to love this movie too. The only downside I would say about this film, if I had to say anything, is the plot is a little bit convoluted. I think kids might have a hard time kind of keeping up with what exactly is going on. I mean, there's all sorts of elements, like going into like a different sort of dimension. There's time travel. There's a lot of things to kind of keep up with in this story that, whereas the first movie seemed like more of a simple, self-contained, kind of easy to follow story. So this one's a little bit complicated, but one of the things that I loved about this one that I think really, and I actually kind of had, it was sort of a funny little follow-through that came afterwards. So I saw this film with a friend of mine. We were actually at a mall when we saw our screening of it, and there were several things in the film where they would show, like Chris Pratt's character Emmett builds a house for he and his girlfriend, and it's like just this perfect-looking little Lego house. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, man, that looks like that could be a set. Like that could be something you buy at the Lego store, like a set that the house from the movie. And then there's a moment in the movie where the house gets destroyed, and Emmett rebuilt it as a spaceship, and then uses it to fly, off into this other dimension. And so there were little things like that. There were little things that I thought to myself, like, wow, that looks like that could be a set. That looks like that could be a set. And so when the movie was over, it was like 3 minutes till 9. So the stores were all closing in the mall. So we ran over to the Lego store just to see if by chance they had some of the stuff that was in the movie. And sure enough, there's that house. But here's the cool part about it. So I'm looking at it, and it looks exactly like the house in the movie. And then it says 2-in-1 set. And I'm like, 2-in-1? And I flip it over, and it shows the house built as the spaceship.
Wow.
So you could actually build the set as either the house or the spaceship, whichever you chose, and all the pieces would fit perfectly. And I thought, oh, my God, that's like the movie come to life.
That is like genius marketing, man. Wow.
It really is. And so I have to respect the fact that Lego as a company actually went so far as to, not only take things that you see in the movie and make them into sets that you can build, but do it in a way that is representative of what you saw in the movie. I thought that was really, really cool. So I love that aspect of it. We do get to meet some new characters. We get a lot of funny little cameos and references. There's certain moments throughout the film that are almost a little, I got to be careful how I word this because I don't want to scare anybody off, but a little adult in humor, and I don't necessarily mean I don't mean dirty humor.
Right.
I just mean like these are jokes that kids would not get. Like these are jokes that adults would get, but kids would not get. And but it was still very, very funny. So there's great little things to look for in the film, and it's really a lot of fun. Like I said, the only real downside is that the plot of the movie is a little bit convoluted. As I mentioned earlier, there is a song in this film that is kind of like the follow-up to Everything is Awesome. And this song is going to get stuck inside your head, so be prepared. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. If you like the first movie, you're going to love this movie. I don't think it's as good as the first movie, but I think it's just below it. So I was very, very happy with what I saw.
Well, very good. Sounds like one. Most of us are going to go see it no matter what anyway. I know that my daughter has just been crazy to see it. So very exciting. Again, that's Lego Movie 2, the second part, rated PG, 1 hour, 47 minutes. Right now, 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm just excited to hear Chris Pratt back in the game. Anything else worth mentioning here? I know that's the big one of the week.
Yeah, there's that's the only one that I got a chance to see. There are a couple films that are opening up this weekend that are probably worthy of note. The Prodigy is a horror movie that's coming out that's getting a lot of really good word of mouth. Orion Pictures, the newly revived Orion Pictures, is releasing this one. You know, it's funny, Robert, I'm sure you can relate to this. When I was a kid, that Orion logo always kind of gave me like a warm, fuzzy feeling. I think the first time I remember seeing it was RoboCop.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's like I always loved that logo. And then when that company went bankrupt, which oddly enough, I think was because of RoboCop 3, Orion sort of disappeared for a while. And just recently they've kind of brought it back. And so I love seeing Orion Pictures, you know, that logo back on the big screen. But yeah, The Prodigy, it stars Taylor Schilling from Orange is the New Black. And it looks like a really creepy film. It's directed by Nicholas McCarthy, and Nicholas McCarthy made a horror movie or a ghost story called The Pack, which came out like about I think it was about 7 years ago. Very low budget, kind of a low key indie horror film, and it was really amazing. Like I love this. It's one of my favorite like ghost story movies. So I'm glad to see that he's getting to do kind of a bigger budget, you know, mainstream horror film. So that opens up this weekend. Am I mistaken in thinking that the Liam Neeson movie opens up this weekend? I can't remember the name of it. I'm totally blocking.
Oh, is that the one? Cold Pursuit.
Cold Pursuit.
Yeah.
Cold Pursuit. That's right. Yeah, that opens up this weekend, I believe, also. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see those, so I can't really comment on them either way. I've heard The Prodigy is really fun and scary, so I guess if you're looking for something that's not on the childlike level of Lego Movie, that would probably be my recommendation for this weekend.
Hey, I do have a quick question for you, since we're going into the last weekend prior to Valentine's Day. You got any quick picks on Valentine's movies, romantic comedies? Maybe a particular ones that guys can stomach that we can sit through.
Well, there's one opening up this weekend that we forgot to mention, and that is What Men Want.
Oh yeah.
Roger this is kind of a reimagining of the Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want.
Right.
Sort of a gender swap on it and whatnot. But I got to tell you, man, I love Taraji P. Henson. I kind of want to see this just because I think she's so funny. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing her being able to do a comedy, too, because a lot of times, you know, people are used to seeing her on Empire, and she's playing a real serious role, so it's going to be fun to see her do a comedy. But, yeah, that's a good question. As far as, like, kind of some of my favorites, the stuff that always pops out in my mind when it comes to, like, Valentine's Day movies, and this isn't necessarily a Valentine's Day movie, but, you know, Love Actually is one of those films that I can watch any time of the year.
Love it.
It's sort of a guilty pleasure film. Some of the comedies that I think kind of get overlooked sometimes, there's a really funny movie with Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart called Just Friends.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Yeah, it's about, like, two high school friends that they meet several years later, and they fall in love, and it's kind of a fun little film. And then there's also a movie with Jason Lee called A Guy Thing that I really like. It's kind of just a fun, silly, romantic slapstick comedy. But, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any, like, Valentine's Day movies that I think get overlooked.
Hey, you know, you mentioned Love Actually. There's actually that movie called Valentine's Day that actually plays out a lot like Love Actually. It's got that all-star cast, you know, Ashton Kutcher and Jessica Alba, Jessica Biel, Hector Elizondo, and like Queen Latifah. Like literally everybody's in that movie, and it's much like Love Actually in that it kind of layers, you know, all these stories and whatnot. So
that movie was part of a trilogy of films that I believe Gary Marshall was behind.
Right.
It's Valentine's Day. Oh God!
New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve
is one of them, and then there's a third one, but I can't think of it. But it's something like that. Like it falls on a holiday. Oh God, I can't believe I can't think of it. But yeah, it's like a trilogy of films, and they all kind of take place on that one day. They all have these really big epic casts, and that's definitely one that's probably worth mentioning. That has some fun stuff going on in it. So. Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head on Valentine's Day movies. If I think of anything different, I'll bring it up next week.
Right on. And I know you had something, you were off the air, you were talking something about the Fantastic Four Blu-ray?
I am so excited about this, and I probably shouldn't be, but, I mean, you got to understand something. I got into comic books and kind of that comic book pop culture stuff. I really got into that when I was in high school, which was around 1990. And one of the things that I followed pretty closely at the time, Roger Corman, who was the king of the B-movie, released a bunch of really cheesy movies, Death Race 2000 and stuff like that. I mean, he started a lot of people's careers, like James Cameron. I mean, a lot of really big-name people. Jack Nicholson got their start working with Roger Corman. Well, Roger Corman is definitely the king of the B-movie. And back in the late 80s, Roger Corman got the rights to do a Fantastic Four movie based on the Marvel comic books. So what happened was he had the rights for several years, and Marvel reached a point where they were kind of like, hey, you know what? We got to see some movement on this. If you guys aren't going to make a movie, we're going to take the rights away from you. And at the time, they had the intention, because Marvel was doing pretty well at the time, they had the intention of trying to seek out like a much bigger movie studio to make like a legit Fantastic Four movie. So what does Roger Corman do? They waited until like the last few days that they had the rights, and they threw together this really low-budget, really crappy Fantastic Four movie. But the funny thing about it was they did it simply so that they wouldn't lose the rights to make the film.
Right.
But the funny thing about it was the movie was so bad, it was so cheesy and so bad that they basically decided to shelve it and never release it. And so for years, for decades, people have been begging for this movie. Now, you can see the movie. You can look it up. I think it's actually on YouTube. It gets uploaded to YouTube in its entirety, and you can watch it. It's not very good quality because it's taken from like a bootleg VHS or something like that. So don't expect a good quality copy of it. But I was very excited because they put out a documentary called Doomed, which is a sort of a play on Dr. Doom. And the documentary is all about the making of the film, and they interview all of the actors. They interview the director of the film. They interview Lloyd Kaufman. They interview Roger Corman. It's a really cool documentary. And so the makers of this documentary, I think it's doomedmovie.com, if I'm not mistaken. The makers of this documentary, they put it out on Blu-ray. But at the same time they put it out on Blu-ray, they also put the unreleased Fantastic Four movie out on Blu-ray, including a director's commentary. So I am super stoked about this because it's one of those things, it's kind of one of those lost gems that, like, hardly anyone has ever seen this, and a lot of people don't even know it exists. And now it's finally available on Blu-ray. So, like I said, I think it's doomedmovie.com, or just look up Doomed documentary on Google, and you can get both of these Blu-rays on their website. They're offering a package deal where if you order both, they're $16, which I believe includes shipping, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's like $2 shipping. And man, I got to tell you, that's a bargain. Just getting one Blu-ray for $16 is a bargain.
Yeah.
You know, so I was really, really happy to get these, and I cannot wait to sit down and watch them over the weekend.
Well, you sound really excited. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, it's one of those things that, like I remember from being in high school, I remember following this film and really wanting to see this movie just out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like they made a Fantastic Four movie and no one's ever going to get to see it. So yeah, this is long before the years that Chris Evans played Johnny Storm. There was a Fantastic Four movie, and now I own it.
Well, what else you got going on at BigFanboy.com? Any cool new trailers or news that we need to talk about?
Yeah, we posted up a couple of interesting trailers. There's a new Dumbo trailer, which I think just looks amazing. I can't wait to see this. This is Tim Burton doing a live-action version of Dumbo for Disney. Well, I say live-action. It's live-action CGI hybrid. Dumbo is going to be CGI, but all the actors and everything will be, you know, live-action. And the great thing about this Dumbo movie, because it's Tim Burton directing, this is Tim Burton re-teaming with Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito. So it's sort of like a Batman Returns reunion.
Wow, yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And then also we posted up a trailer for there's a new Shaft movie, which brings back Samuel L. Jackson as Shaft, brings in Jesse T. Usher from Independence Day Resurgence. He plays Shaft's son. And then it also brings back old school Shaft Richard Roundtree. So you're going to have 3 generations of Shaft in this movie. We posted up that trailer. Can you dig it, Robert?
Man, I can dig it. That's just too much cool, man, for one movie.
What's going to be interesting to see how this movie plays out, because they're really playing up the comedy aspect of this movie. Like the 2000 version of Shaft was played very much as a serious film. This one is very much being played as a comedy. So it's going to be interesting to see how people react to that.
Yeah, good. I mean, I kind of hope they take it more like of a Black Dynamite kind of direction, to where it's kind of, making fun of itself, so to speak. So I think that they'll have better response that way.
Yeah.
Once again, let's give it up to professional Q&A moderator and speaker, film critic at BigFanboy.com, and show director at Dallas Comic Show, episode 49/50 of Fanboy Friday, Mark Walters.
Thank you, Robert.
Fanboy Friday with Mark Walters and Robert Miguel.
Coyote Country 104.9.